Day, he's still a kid. That's I just want him to have fun, be able to enjoy it, and for me to provide an environment that he will. It's been great over the years, and this, I mean,
Golf has always measured its legacies not in seasons, but in singular, defining moments. And right now, the moment the entire golf world cannot stop talking about belongs to Charlie Woods. What fans watched on PGA Tour live that week at Sage Valley was so unexpected, so far from anything anyone had prepared for, that the reaction was absolutely immediate. And it has not settled since. The golf community is still losing it over those numbers, and honestly, the full picture is even more striking than the scorecard suggests, because right now, Russell is walking Augusta National's fairways this week, while Charlie is home quietly resetting. Tiger returned to competitive golf on March 24th after 600 days away, and his Masters answer is still unconfirmed today. An uncomfortable question sits underneath all of it, and polished golf coverage has been carefully stepping around it. Subscribe if you want the perspective that most channels will not give you. Whether Charlie Woods quits carrying this weight or finds a way through it is the conversation worth having, and it starts right here. To understand what actually happened at Sage Valley, you need to understand what the Junior Invitational actually is, because the scoreboard without that context is just numbers on a page. The tournament carries the nickname Junior Masters for a reason. Sage Valley Golf Club in Graniteville, South Carolina, sits 25 minutes from Augusta National. The winner receives a gold jacket in a deliberate nod to golf's most famous green one. And the field this year included all 10 of the top-ranked junior boys in the world, drawn from 19 countries. This was its 15th edition, played across 72 holes of stroke play invitation only, meaning just being in that field represents something. Past champions include Scotty Scheffler, who won it in 2014, Joaquin Niemann in 2017, and Akshay Bhatia in 2018. Every name on that honor roll eventually found their way onto PGA Tour leaderboards. Charlie Woods opened with a first-round 75, putting him 11 shots behind Miles Russell, who had posted an 8 under 64 on the same course under the same conditions. A difficult start, but nothing that ruled him out of 4 days of competition at that point. His second round produced a 76, and the distance between him and the top of the leaderboard grew in a direction that became increasingly difficult to justify as a rough patch. The third round removed any remaining ambiguity. An 11 over 83 that included a triple bogey, a double bogey, and 7 bogeys, with one birdie on the card that offered very little in the way of comfort. His closing round of 80 featured 4 double bogeys, and his 4-round total of 314 placed him at 26 over par, 10 shots behind the 35th place finisher. Russell closed with a 5 under 67 to finish at 15 under par, becoming the first player in the history of the tournament to win it in consecutive years, an achievement that rather got buried under the coverage of who finished last. The gap between winner and last place was 41 shots, which is a figure that speaks for itself without any additional commentary. Most outlets stopped there. Bad scorecard, recognizable surname, story filed. The problem with that version is it leaves out everything that makes this genuinely worth discussing. 12 months before Sage Valley, Charlie entered the team Tailor-Made Invitational at Streamsong Resort, ranked 606th in the AJGA standings. He won the event at 15 under par against a field that included the top-ranked junior in the country and left ranked 14th. A climb of nearly 600 positions from a single tournament week is not something that happens to players without real ability, and that result is the necessary piece of context that the Sage Valley scorecard cannot provide on its own. Beyond the ranking jump, he committed to Florida State University in February, a program whose alumni under coach Trey Jones include Brooks Koepka, Daniel Berger, and Luke Clanton. He also signed with Players Group Management and agent Alan Hobbs, the same agent who represents Russell, in a move that deliberately separated his professional identity from the Excel Sports Management Agency that has handled his father's affairs since 2011. For a 17-year-old, the combination of those decisions suggests a young man who is thinking carefully about where he is going and who is guiding him there. After the final round at Sage Valley, his Instagram response to finishing last was to publicly congratulate Russell, describe the experience as an honor, and wish his future Florida State teammate well. There was no deflection in it, no excuse-making, no retreat into silence. What that post communicated about his temperament was something the scorecard had no room to capture. Tiger has addressed the broader dynamic around his son's career clearly and more than once. His position is that Charlie is a separate person with a separate path, and that measuring him against the standards of a 15-time major champion is neither fair nor logical. Augusta National has watched enough talented names arrive with significant expectations and depart without fulfilling them to understand that the game resists inheritance more reliably than almost anything else about it. That is worth keeping in mind when looking at where things stand this particular week, because the circumstances have arranged themselves into a contrast that nobody scripted but everyone has noticed. Russell is at Augusta National right now, caddying for world #1 female junior asterisk tally at the Augusta National Women's Amateur, which begins April 1st, 5 days before the Masters. Walking those fairways before the world's best professionals arrive, building comfort with an environment that most junior golfers will never enter, is exactly the kind of quiet accumulation of experience that tends to matter later. Charlie is at home resetting, which, after a week like Sage Valley, is a sensible decision. But the unplanned nature of that contrast has not gone unobserved by the golf world. Tiger's week added its own considerable dimension to an already eventful stretch of days. On March 24th, having not competed in any format since March 2025 and not played a PGA Tour event since the 2024 Open Championship at Royal Troon, more than 600 days removed from competitive golf, he stepped into the SoFi Center in Palm Beach Gardens and played for Jupiter Lynx in the TGL Finals against Los Angeles Golf Club. The decision was communicated the evening before the match with roughly 18 hours of notice, and somehow that was enough to rearrange the viewing plans of the entire golf-watching world. The man has not lost his ability to command a room, or in this case, an arena, even after everything his body has been through. His opening swing was a 3-wood from 279 yards that set up a birdie, and a lagged 45-foot putt conceded shortly after put Jupiter 2-0 ahead. He hit his signature stinger on the hole named after that very shot, generating 176 miles per hour ball speed, and for a brief stretch it felt genuinely cinematic. Los Angeles then produced 3 consecutive eagles across 5 holes. The match concluded in 10 holes with a 9-2 scoreline, and a missed 3-foot putt at the 7th hole frustrated Tiger enough to slam his putter to the turf, a reaction that anyone who has watched him compete over the years would have recognized immediately and probably smiled at, because some things do not change regardless of age or circumstance. His post-match comments on the Masters were honest in a way that this particular situation warranted. He acknowledged his body's recovery timeline is nothing like it was at 24 or 25, expressed genuine desire to compete at Augusta, and declined to commit to a decision as of today. April 9th remains unconfirmed for a man whose 7th back surgery, a lumbar disc replacement, was performed 5 months ago in October 2025, with his last full competitive event sitting more than 600 days in the past. So this is where the full picture lands. Charlie Woods had a week at Sage Valley that fans watched in real time on PGA Tour Live at junior golf's most prestigious event against the strongest field assembled at that level. A 17-year-old finishing last in that context is not a verdict on a career. It is one result inside what figures to be a long and genuinely uncertain road ahead. The players who eventually define themselves in this sport almost never did so by avoiding the difficult weeks early on. They tended to be the ones who met adversity at an inconvenient age, processed it without the benefit of privacy, and used it as the foundation for something more durable than hype. Whether Charlie Woods writes that version of his story is something only time and sustained work will determine. And golf, as a game, is exceptionally patient about waiting for the answer. The Masters begins in 13 days. Russell is already at Augusta. Tiger is at home, practicing, monitoring his back, and giving the golf world nothing to go on beyond his characteristic refusal to admit defeat. And Charlie, whose week on PGA Tour Live is still generating the kind of conversation that fans genuinely cannot leave alone, is somewhere putting in the work that either leads somewhere or quietly does not. The game has a way of finding out. That is the honest version of this story. Context included, scoreboard, not mistaken for the whole truth. If this is the kind of coverage you want more of, subscribe and turn on notifications so nothing gets past you. Drop your take in the comments. Do you think Charlie Woods comes back from Sage Valley with something to prove? Or has the weight of competing under that surname started to show in ways that go beyond one bad week? This channel wants to hear it. See you on the next one.